Last time we were discussing about cardiovascular system. Uh, Now today we'll discuss little bit about respiratory system. Actually, respiratory system, it's not mentioned in the syllabus, but it works along with the cardiovascular system for blood purification. Because so last time we have seen the pumping action of the heart, that we'll discuss later again. So in brief, I will just discuss about respiratory system, because cardiovascular system and the respiratory system, they work together. So within just few minutes. So cardiovascular system, it is the pneumatic system. So actually inside our body there are all different types of engineering. There is hydraulics engineering is there, pneumatic is there, electrical engineering is there, electronics engineering, mechanical engineering. So all engineering disciplines are working together inside this complex system. We call it as our human body. Okay. So respiratory system, it is the pneumatic system that works with air pressure. So there is an air pump, we call it as the diaphragm, which alternately creates negative and positive pressures in a sealed chamber called as the thoracic cavity. Okay, so the thoracic cavity sucks air in and forces air out in two elastic bags. We call it, those are called as lungs. The lungs are connected to external environment through the passway. Passway means the nasal cavities, pharynx, larynx, trachea, bronchi, and bronchioles. So this is the diagram which shows all these terms what I discussed in the previous slide: nasal cavity, pharynx, larynx, trachea, bronchi, lungs, and diaphragm. Branchioles, these are the smaller branches of branches. At one point, this passage is common with the tube that carries liquid and solids to the stomach. That means our passage for breathing and taking food, some part of the passage it is common. Okay. There is a valving arrangement that interrupts the respiratory system whenever solid or liquid passes through the common region. The passage divides to carry air in to each bag. In each bag, it is subdivided in many times to carry air in and out of each of many tiny air spaces called as pulmonary alveoli. Okay. There is a nasal, in case of nasal blockage, air input can be taken from mouth. Oxygen is taken from the air and transferred into the blood. Carbon dioxide is transferred from blood to air. The system has number of fixed volumes and capacities. Okay. So these are the terminologies associated with respiratory systems. Tidal volume. So this tidal volume, it actually gives us, it specifies the capacity, how many liters air can be taken in or out. The volume is inspired and expired during each normal breath. That is the tidal capacity. Then inspiratory reservoir volume. So it is the additional volume that can be inspired after a normal inspiration, that is inspiratory reserve volume. Then there is expiratory reserve volume, additional volume that can be expired after a normal expiration. Okay. Now all these volumes, by you must have heard, by our regular breathing exercises or carrying out pranayama, we can increase these capacities. Then the residual volume, it is the amount of air remaining in the lungs after all possible air has been forced out. Then vital capacity, it is the total sum of tidal volume, inspiratory reserve volume, and expiratory reserve volume. So this is the same thing again. Okay. Now how the blood purification happens in the body. overall functioning of our body depends on the proper functioning of our blood. We take toxins into our body daily, and these toxins disrupt the functions of our internal organs. So regular detoxification of our blood is important, and that is what is done with the help of this respiratory system. So detoxifying the blood and body helps to remove harmful toxins from the body and improve the functioning of our vital organs such as kidney and liver. When our body has too much toxins, our vital organs start to get damaged and underperform, and we start to develop symptoms of allergies like low immunity, headache, fatigue, and several other health related problems. Okay. Lungs help to remove carbon dioxide, kidneys remove water soluble waste, and liver removes fat soluble waste and many other impurities from the blood. Now this is important here. That is the purpose we are learning this little bit about this respiratory system, because respiratory systems, it helps in purifying blood. So unoxygenated or unpurified blood comes into right atrium of the heart by superior and inferior vena cava. So this were discussed in the previous lecture, which then passes to right ventricle, then to the lungs by pulmonary artery. So just now we have discussed, when it goes to lungs, there is an exchange of carbon dioxide and oxygen. Now in the lungs, blood gets oxygenated by the exchange of carbon dioxide with oxygen, and after that it goes into the left chamber of the heart. Left chamber of the heart, that is the left atrium, from which blood is passed to aorta and then circulated to the whole body. So this is how the respiratory system and cardiovascular system, they are working together for blood purification. So this is the diagram which shows the cardiovascular system as well as the respiratory system together. Okay, so this is about the respiratory system. Now let us go to our main point, that is ECG, electrocardiogram. So I will share that presentation. Okay, so now we are going to discuss about electrocardiograph, called as ECG, which is the most important part in our subject. As I told you many times, ECG and EEG, that means the signals related to heart and the signals related to brain, those signals we are going to study in this subject and its signal processing. So that is major part of our syllabus. So let us proceed to understand what do we mean by electrocardiograph. Now to understand this electrocardiograph, it is necessary to understand the working of the heart, that means the cardiovascular system. That is what we have discussed in the previous lecture. Okay, so I will just review in brief about working of cardiovascular system. We have seen earlier the cardiovascular system, it actually works as a pump. So the blood acts as a transport system which carries oxygen, nutrients and chemical agents to all organs like limbs and tissues in the body, as well as it transports waste products and toxins to organs for disposal. So this is what we have just now discussed while we discussed about the respiratory system. So heart actually works as a double pump, and the circulatory system as now this because of this double pump action, the circulatory system, it has two separate circuits called as pulmonary circulation and systemic circulation. Now just now we have seen blood is gathered from different parts of the body into right atrium. So right atrium is here in this diagram. So blood is collected from different parts of the body and it enters into right atrium. Now from where it is transferred to right ventricle. So this is from right atrium, it enters into right ventricle. Now the right ventricle contracts and forces the blood out towards the lungs. Okay, so after the ventricle contracts, the blood is forced out from this, as you can see in the diagram number 3, where now in the lungs, the exchange of carbon dioxide and oxygen takes place and the blood becomes pure, that means it is oxygenated. Now after the blood is reoxygenated, the blood travels back to the heart in the left atrium. It travels back to the left atrium, this one. This actually, this is this side it is the right part, side it is left part. Left heart is this side and right heart is this side. So this is right atria actually, and this is right atria and this is left atria in the last diagram. Okay, so the blood after reoxygenation, it enters in the left atria and then it enters into right ventricle. So right ventricle, that through this valve it enters into right ventricle. Then the right ventricle contracts and it forces blood to force out to lungs. Now again, where carbon dioxide is removed and fresh oxygen is absorbed. Okay, so from the lungs, the reoxygenated blood travels back to the heart, and this complete loop, it is called as pulmonary circulation. So this cardiac cycle, there are two circuits as we discussed: pulmonary circulation now the blood is then transferred to the left ventricle, again which contracts to force the blood under pressure to all the limbs and organs of the body. So the left ventricle actually it supplies the oxygenated blood to all the organs of the body, and that's why it requires more pressure. So actually it is more strong than right side. So once the oxygens and nutrients have been distributed via the blood to all the cells of the body, then again through the capillaries, the waste products, these are collected and delivered for excretion. The blood returns to the right atrium again, and now this part of the cycle or the circuit, it is called as systemic circulation. Okay, now when this contraction and expansion of this atrium and the ventricles are taking place, This is all controlled. This is all controlled with the help of some electrical signals, because it is a mechanical contraction and expansion. So for this mechanical contraction and expansion, there are some electrical signals which are available from the nervous system of the body, or these originate from, these are actually the nerve impulses which transmit, these are action potentials which are transmitted to nerve fibers to the cells within the muscles of the heart, which then activate, and appropriate cycles of contraction and expansion occurs. Okay, so that this is called as the complete cardiac cycle. Right. Now we are interested in knowing about the electrical part of this, how actually these electrical signals are generated, and how these electrical currents they flow from one point to the other point, and how they are related to the mechanical contraction and expansion of our heart. So we are interested in studying those things. Okay, so this is about the pressure and volume changes in the left atrium and the left ventricle and the aorta when the contraction and expansion is taking place. It is classified into two parts, systole and diastole. So systole means when it compresses, and diastole it is when this auricle atrium or the ventricles they expand. Okay. Now we are talking about the cardiac cycle. So cardiac cycle, it is one complete cycle, how the blood enters in the heart, then it is forced inside the lungs, it is oxygenated, and again it goes into the heart, and so on. So this cycle keeps on repeating. So as I told, this complete mechanical phenomena, contraction and expansion of the heart muscles, it is associated with some electrical signals, and that is what we are going to learn in more details, because the name of our subject is biomedical signal processing. So how actually we are interested in how actually these signals are produced, and how those signals are captured, and how those are processed, and what information they convey. So that is what we are going to learn. Okay, so the electrical changes in heart tissues cause mechanical changes. So the mechanical changes means the muscle contraction and expansion, it is caused because of some electrical changes, or you can say these electrical changes are like some pulses. So actually there is some, in electrical terminology, there is some oscillator inside the heart which continuously keeps on oscillating, and it generates some pulses, like the oscillators what we have studied in different subjects. Okay, but in this case, this oscillator is, it generates the electrical signal with the principle of action potential. So in the beginning lectures we have seen how the action potential is generated. There is a the cells are polarized, then they get depolarized, so the potential inside the cell keeps on changing, that we have seen earlier. Okay, so the similar phenomena happens here, and that's why there is a rhythmic activity continuously going on. So the changes in electrical membrane potential of specific parts of the heart tissue represent mechanical events. So the electrical changes in the electrical potential of specific part of the heart tissues are associated with mechanical events. Mechanical events means the contraction and expansion of the heart chambers. Okay. Now, what is electrocardiography? So, electrocardiography there are two abbreviations for electrocardiography. It is ECG, or it is also called as EKG. So this EKG, this name, it is from German language. So in the books you may find this as EKG or ECG. Okay. So EKG, yeah, I told you EKG, it comes from this word cardiogram, which is in German. Now ECG is actually recording of the electrical activity of heart. And the mechanical activity of heart, it is sensed by echocardiography. So this echocardiography is different and ECG is different. Electrocardiography, it is the recording of the voltages related to the heart, and recording of the mechanical activity of heart, it is echocardiography. Okay, now let us discuss about the electrical activities inside the heart. So as I told you, in our heart, all this contraction and expansion of the heart muscles, it is controlled with the help of some electrical signal. So that electrical signal, it is actually these are the pulses. So these pulses keep on occurring rhythmically like an oscillator, and because of that, the regular contraction and expansion of the heart muscles takes place. Okay. Now here in this diagram, you see this green color. This is called as the SA node. In literature, this is called as SA node or sinoatrial node. So this SA node, this is actually the source. This is a group of cells located in the upper atrium. So this is the atrium, the upper right chamber of the heart. Okay, so as I told, this green color. This is a group of cells. This is a group of cells located in the upper right atrium. This is called as SA node. Now this SA node, this is actually a source of all these electrical signals. So this group of cells located at this point, they keep on depolarizing and repolarizing rhythmically, and this electrochemical activity produced here, it produces some potential here. Now once this membrane potential in the cell reaches to certain threshold value, the cell depolarizes, giving rise to associated action potential, and then repolarizes gradually. Now, as I told, this happens in the rhythmic manner, providing as a electrical oscillator. So this is actually working like an electrical oscillator of our heart. In technical language, this is called as pacemaker. Actually, pacemaker, it is the electronic device. Pacemaker, it is an electronic device. You might have heard that if there is a problem in generating electrical signals inside the heart, this pacemaker, it is the electronic device which is implanted with the heart by some operation, and it has some battery. So it is an external device which is attached to heart, and that device supplies the electrical pulses here if this SA node does not work properly. So if you search for this word pacemaker, you will find that information. And it has since there is a battery there, it has certain life, 10 or 15 years. Then after 10 and 15 years, again the person is to be operated for replacing the battery. So this pacemaker, actually it is the electrical device which works, which is inserted by some operation if this SA node does not produce the required pulses. Okay. Now, this electrical pulses provides a trigger stimulus to operate the nerve fibers of the heart and muscles of the chamber to maintain regular heartbeat. So because of these pulses, the it gets the heart chambers, heart muscles, they get regular electrical signals for contraction and expansion purpose. Okay. So all this activity, it is it originates from this SA node. So in that case, we say that SA node had fired. So when the SA node fires, the resulting electrochemical stimulation, it spreads across the muscles in the wall of the right and left atria, causing them to contract. Okay. Now because of this action, the blood is forced out of the atria and into the lower ventricles. Into the lower ventricles, as you can see in this diagram. On the both sides of the heart. Now the stimulus after that, it moves quickly from the SA node towards the AV node. So the electrical signal from SA node, it originates from the SA node and it moves towards another node, that is a group of cells called as AV node. So this is the AV node here. And the time required for this, it is around 30 to 50 nanoseconds. Now, in order to allow the atria to transfer contents to the ventricles, some delay is to be provided. Okay, so there is a delay unit here which slows down the transmission of action potential by around 110 milliseconds before the stimulus is passed on by the AV node. So it provides some delay of 110 milliseconds. Oh, okay. Now after this SA node, then this electrical signal or the action potential, then it travels towards the another set of cells called as the bundle of His. Okay, so this red line, what you see, this is actually, this indicates how this electrical signal is propagating inside our heart. So after SA node, it goes to bundle of His, and from bundle of His, it goes to the Purkinje fibers. So Purkinje fibers, this is the last part where this electrical signal arrives. So this is actually the electrical circuit of the heart, you can say. Now the action potential after this, it causes the ventricular contraction. So these are the ventricles. It causes ventricular contraction. Which forces the blood from ventricles to flow in the pulmonary and for systemic circulation. Okay. Now the excitation of such a large number of cells in this part, it creates a significant electrical signal, resulting an electric field which is emitted from the heart towards the surface of the body. So some sudden electrical signal, it is generated here because of this contraction, and this signal, some like this. So this signal, it is actually one of the major pulse from ECG. Okay, and this signal, it propagates from this heart towards the surface of the body, like chest or limbs and so on. Okay, so this is actually measured in the form of ECG. This is measured in the form of ECG. Okay. So again, this is the same diagram, how the signal originates. The action potential, as we have seen, it starts from the sinus node, then it goes to AV node. Now this AV node, it introduces some delay here so that the auricles, atriums, they get some time for contraction purpose, and the blood is completely transferred from atrium to ventricles. Then after that, this signal AV, after AV node, it propagates to the bundle of His. Then after bundle of His, it propagates to the Purkinje system. That these are the Purkinje fibers. Right. Now after that, there is a contraction of this ventricles, and the blood is ejected out. And as I told you, suddenly some impulse signal is produced, and this signal travels towards the surface of the body. Okay. So this is again the same thing. SA node that depolarizes electrical. Now this is point number 1. Then this is number 2. Electrical activity goes rapidly to AV node. So this is the AV node via internodal pathways. Then point 3, depolarization spreads more slowly across the atria. Conduction slows through AV node. Then 4, depolarization moves rapidly through ventricular conducting system to the apex of the heart. That happens here. Then point number 5, depolarization wave spreads upward from the apex. So this is the complete conduction system of the heart, and how this mechanical activity, that means contraction and expansion, it is related to the electrical activity. Okay. Now this is one small animation which is available on Wikipedia. So whatever we have discussed, that you can see here. So as you see here, okay. This system is showing, this simulation is showing one complete cycle of our ECG. As we discussed, it originates from the SA node, this one. Then from SA node, it goes to the AV node. From AV node, then it goes to the bundle of His. Then from bundle of His to the Purkinje fibers. And during this ventricular contraction, it suddenly produces one bigger pulse. Okay. Now we'll see the details about this ECG. So in this diagram, it is showing one cycle of this contraction and expansion of the heart muscles and the corresponding electrical signal here. Okay. Now we'll see the details about this electrical signal on the time axis. What is that? What is this electrical signal on the amplitude axis, and what are its characteristics, and what are the different parts of these waves? So that is what we're going to learn. Okay. Now before we proceed to study the actual characteristics of ECG wave, okay, so before that, let us see some electrical activities of the heart. Now as we have seen, our heart, there is some SA node. So this SA node, this is the point where the conduction begins. That means the electrical activity, it begins, and depolarization occurs. And because of that, as you can see in this diagram, it produces a negative charge on one side and the positive charge on other side. So, and this potential, it is traveling towards the AV node, right? So there is a SA node here, and it travels toward the AV node. So it is actually it has some direction as a vector in this direction from SA node It is traveling towards the AV node. Okay, so this vector actually it is called as the electrical axis of the heart, and this electrical axis, this is actually the direction of this vector. It depends upon it is actually related to the physical orientation of the heart. So physically also the heart is oriented in our body in this manner. So this is the electrical axis of the heart, and all other measurements of the signals are with reference to this axis, this vector. Okay, so this actually forms a dipole here. Okay, so after conduction begins at the sinusoidal node, sinoatrial node, we call it as the SA node, cells in the atria begin to depolarize. This creates an electrical wave front that moves downwards. So as we have seen, this electrical wave front, it moves downwards towards the ventricles with polarized cells at the front followed by depolarized cells behind. So the separation of charge results in the dipole across the heart. So this is what you have to remember, that some dipole is produced here because of this positive and negative charges, and it gives rise to some electrical axis. Okay, so with reference to this, we'll discuss now ECG and EKG. Okay, now before I proceed, any question, anybody? Would you like to discuss anything? Any query up to this point? Any questions up to this point? Because I was continuously speaking. Let it be little bit interactive. Have you understood this electrical activity of the heart? I need some response. Okay, Rupali, fine. तुम्हाला बोलायचं नसतं काही. Fine, okay, I will go ahead. Okay, so as we have seen, the electrical cycle of the heart, we call it as ECG or EKG. So it is the procedure. Now we'll talk about the details of this ECG waveform, okay, and the ways of measuring this ECG. And then unit number in the next unit, we will see how to process this signal, ECG signal, and what different types of information is available from this ECG signal, how to remove noise and so on. Okay, so it is the procedure of recording the electrical activity of the heart. The electrode combination that is used for the measurement of this electrical activity, it records the difference of potential difference at the two sides on the body. The potential differences are produced due to the electrical activity of the heart. That is what we have just now discussed. Okay, now there are two terminologies here. When we say electrocardiograph, then we are talking about the machine which we are using for a recording purpose. When we say electrocardiogram, then we talk about the actual record. And both these are actually ECG. Okay, so the characteristics, shape and timing of the ECG waves are due to the spread of depolarization and repolarization. That is what we have discussed now, associated with the heartbeat. So as we have studied, the electrical signal action potential, as it starts from the SA node, travels to the AV node, then a bundle of his Purkinje fibers and so on. So this depolarization and repolarization, it results in a particular shape and the timing of ECG waveform. Okay, so this is the ECG waveform, and this is one complete, two cycles are shown here. So this is one complete cycle of ECG. Okay, so it is actually divided into uh, the wave which are which have been given a standard name. So it is called as the P wave. It is divided into three parts: P wave. Then next is the QRS complex. P wave, QRS complex, and the third part, it is U wave, it is T wave. So the ECG cycle, it is divided into three parts: P wave, QRS complex, and T wave. Okay. Very rarely, in some persons, after T wave, one more little small wave is available, and it is called as U wave. But this U wave, it is very rare. So commonly you will find P wave, QRS wave, and this T wave. Okay. Now we'll talk about more details about this. Usually the axis, time axis, it is in seconds. Time axis, it is in seconds, and the amplitude axis, it is in millivolts, as you can see here. Okay. So there is a P wave. This is called as the PR interval, where the P wave starts and it ends. Okay, then this baseline, this is called as the baseline. Okay, so this duration of the baseline, it is called as a PR segment. This duration of the baseline, this is called as the HT segment, and in between, this is a QRS complex. So this is how this ECG signal is divided into different parts. Okay, this is the standard convention or the type of graph paper you might have seen. If you have seen any ECG signals plotted in the hospitals, then this type of graph is there. There is a time axis here. So each small division, it corresponds to 0.04 second. And as I told, the vertical axis, it is in millivolt. So one small division, as indicated here, it is 0.1 millivolt. And this complete bigger division, this is 0.5 millivolt. So this is what is found in hospitals, the standard convention used. Okay, so again, this is the wave. These are the different parts, as we have seen: P, Q, R, S, T. Okay. Now, what is the significance of these different types of waves? So the P wave, it corresponds to the depolarization of the atria. That means the left atrium and the right atrium. So atria begin contracting about 25 milliseconds after the start of the P wave. So that is the significance of this P wave. Then QRS complex, this represents the ventricular depolarization. QRS complex represents ventricular depolarization. So during this, the ventricles begin contracting shortly after the peak of the R wave. Peak of the R wave. So after this, the ventricles begin to contract. Then T wave, it is ventricular repolarization. This T wave, it is ventricular repolarization. So these are the different parts of ECG waves. Okay. Now the different intervals and segments, what we have seen earlier. So the segment means it extends from the end of the wave to the start of the another. So there is a PR interval. So the PR interval, it is the start of the atrial depolarization to start of the QRS. Then QT interval, it is the time required for ventricles to undergo a single cycle of depolarization and repolarization measured from end of PR to end of T. So this is what it is shown in this diagram. Okay, so these are the PR interval, QT interval, and QRS complex. The various segments. This is the PR segment and the ST segment. So these are various segments. Okay, so this is actually about what we have discussed till now. It is the review of cardiovascular system, how the pumping action takes place, right? Then the contraction and expansion of the auricles and ventricles, and how it is associated with the electrical signals, and what is the electrical activity of the heart. As we have seen, it starts at the SA node, which is a set of some cells, bunch of the cells where the electrical activity starts, and we have seen how it proceeds further from SA node. It goes to the AV node, then bundle of His, then Purkinje fibers, right? And after that, again the same cycle repeats. Okay. Now the next part of this topic, it will be how to measure this, because what we have seen, these are the electrical signals which are inside the heart, right? But for the measurement of ECG, you might have seen in hospitals, nobody is touching directly the heart. We are measuring these ECG signals just from outside of the body. Okay, so what are the various techniques to measure the ECG signal? That means these are actually called as the leads. What are the different leads and the electrodes, and what are the actually systems for that? Three lead system, 6 lead system, and 12 lead ECG. So that we are going to study in the next part of this presentation. I think that we will continue in the next topic only. Okay. So the representation of electrical activity of the heart critically dependent on the position of the electrodes. Okay. So as we have seen, there is an electrical axis in the heart, right? So negative side this side, positive side this side. Okay. So that is how there is an electrical vector. Now if I connect some electrodes for the measurement purpose, suppose one electrode is here, one electrode is here, then obviously it is going to show me some positive voltage. Okay, so if I change the position of the electrodes, then the voltage reading, it will change, right? So that is the meaning of this. So the electrical activity, it will look different on different electrode combinations. So if I change the combination of the electrodes, then the electrical activity, it will look different, right? So now for standardization purpose, the combination of electrodes for recording is called as the lead. So these are the standard conventions where this electrode should be located and their polarities, because otherwise there cannot be standardization, right? That means the graph given by one machine, it will be different, graph given by other machine, it will be different, like that. So there are some standard combinations of the electrodes and the positions where they should be connected to the body. So that we'll discuss in the next lecture. Okay, so this point onwards will continue in the next lecture.